Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of JakesTake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. If you're watching this online right now, give us a 5-star rating and subscribe. And also, if you're listening to this, please give us a 5-star rating, and also please subscribe to my podcast. I'm very honored and privileged to welcome this amazing guest today. She is a New York Times best-selling author, and she's an Emmy-winning reporter, and she's also the founder and content editor of UnChained TV. Please help me welcome Jane Velez-Mitchell to the podcast.
Hey, Jacob. So great to be here, and thank you for having me on.
You're so welcome, Jane. It's an honor and privilege to talk with you.
Yes, well, we started a new streaming network. In fact, we got a little QR code there if you want to download it. It's absolutely, let me get it so that it's in focus. It's absolutely free. You do not have to give your email. You can download it on your iPhone through the App Store, on your Android phone, through Google Play, via a Roku device, an Apple TV device on your TV, or Amazon Fire Stick, or if you have an LG or Samsung Smart TV, all you have to do is type in UnChained TV into the little space that says streaming channels, and we pop up just like HBO or Showtime or any of these other. They're all essentially an app, and we are now an app. The only difference is people have to download ours, but the good news is we're free, whereas the other ones are not.
Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, and the reason we're free is that we're a nonprofit network trying to wake the world up to information they are not getting from advertiser-based mainstream media. And that is that we are destroying our planet by abusing animals for food, for clothing, for animal experimentation, but primarily for food. Jacob, you want to take a guess how many land animals, not including fish, that we kill on this planet every year for food to eat?
I'm going to have to guess 5 million.
80 billion.
Whoa.
80 billion chicken, cows, pigs, turkeys, goats, lambs are killed every year. More animals are killed by us humans in one day than all the humans who have died in human history. It's not healthy for us. It's morally reprehensible because it's industrialized killing on a massive scale, never before seen in human history. It's not tradition because, my tradition I come from, and then they name whatever their ethnic background is, and I've heard them all. No, nobody ate like this in the past. This is risen with fast food, which only came into existence in the mid-1950s, tiny, and then 60s, 70s. We are in a fast food world. It's killing us, with heart disease, diabetes, cancer. People don't even know that processed meat, which is deli slices, hot dogs, bacon, it's officially cancer causing. It's right up there with smoking a cigarette. Do you hear that on television? Does your doctor tell you that? No. We are all being factory farmed. They need you to get sick so they can sell you pills and they can do all those surgeries on you. So our entire economy is based on death, disease, and destruction. Death for the planet, disease for the humans, destruction for the planet. And now Mother Nature has said, enough, human race, go to your room. I'm going to give you a pandemic, which was the New York Times on February 27th did a story saying the scientific community has concluded overwhelmingly that it started at a slaughterhouse in Wuhan, China, the so-called Wuhan wet market. That's just a retail slaughterhouse. There's 100 of the similar slaughterhouses in New York City. There's tons here in LA. They're all over the country. So 6 million people died. Did any media really connect the dots that if we didn't eat animals, we wouldn't have a pandemic? No. Why not? Look at the advertisers. Fast food and pharmaceuticals. You are being exploited just as much as the animals. But the difference is you have the freedom to make a different choice. And that's why we have UnChained TV, to urge people. It's not a sacrifice. I'm 27 years sober. When I hit bottom, making a fool of myself at a party in Hollywood, I had all these preconceptions. Oh, if I get sober, I'll never I'll never have fun again. I'll never go to a party again. I'll never dance again. I'll never, never, never. It was all in my own head. I'm much happier now, so much happier. I would never want to go back. It's the same thing with giving up animal products. You can do everything. You can have great dishes. You can cook in the kitchen. You can go to great restaurants. There's more variety. There's tens of thousands of vegetables. There's only about 6 animals, different types of animals we kill. There's much more variety in vegan cooking.
I've actually increased the amount of vegetables that I cook a lot. And also I wanted to congratulate you on your sobriety.
Thank you. Yes, well, I went vegan about 26 years ago after I got sober 27 years ago. And I also came out as gay. When I got sober, I got clarity. I started to get a little clear, whoa, I love animals. And gee, would I want to slit a throat of a pig? Or no, of course not. So I actually wasn't eating pigs, or I was raised in a pretty much pescatarian household, but I wouldn't want to even kill a fish. I don't want to do that. So why am I doing it? Why am I paying somebody else to do it? So I just went totally vegan, and I've never looked back. It takes 30 days for you to change a behavior pattern, minimum. That's why rehab is at least 30 days. After about 30 days, somebody put Parmesan cheese in a salad that I had, and I spat it out. And I used to love Parmesan cheese. And I was like, that's disgusting. My taste buds had reverted to their factory settings. We're not cows. We are not built to drink the breast milk of a cow. Most people don't even know that cows have to be pregnant in order to produce milk. And guess what? In order for us to drink that milk, the baby has to be separated from the mother. And the babies scream and cry, and they're confused, and the mothers scream and grieve, and they moan, and they try to chase after their babies who are being removed from them. For the boys, sometimes they're shot. The dairy industry doesn't need boy calves, or they're put in veal crates, or they're put on dead piles. The babies are put in this hutches where workers are supposed to feed them the cheap replacement formula instead of the mother's milk, and they don't want to drink it, and that's when the abuse happens. It's a bleep show, the whole thing. And it's a load of bleep that we need to drink the breast milk of cows. There's more calcium in orange juice. There's no need to drink the breast milk of cows. You know what breast milk of cows does? It fattens up a little cow to hundreds of pounds in a very short period of time.
Wow.
Do the math, connect the dots.
First of all, I had never heard of this until now. So this is some incredible knowledge that you're dropping. And we're just ignorance in.
Well, thank you for listening, because the hardest part, and this is why I started my streaming network, my global streaming network through our nonprofit. I do not take a salary. It's 99% volunteer team. There's a few technical people we pay because there's a lot of technical stuff involved with running a streaming network, but it's a labor of love for all of us. We want to show people there's another way. Virtually every problem that we have in our society could be solved if we stopped abusing animals. Test me.
All righty. But we'll get to UnChained TV later. So I want to talk, because of most of my podcasts, I love to learn about how you guys got there. And one of the things is, when did you get interested in journalism? How did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in media?
Well, I grew up in Midtown Manhattan, actually right across from Carnegie Hall on 57th and 7th is where I grew up. And I was that kid who was always leafleting. My dad was an advertising guy right out of Mad Men. He had an agency on Madison Avenue, and he was very conservative. And we only really talked about politics and what was in the New York Times. There was no emotional conversation. But I was very focused on the issues of the day. And also I was just sort of a born protester. I was always passing out leaflets outside my high school. I'd set up tables with my friends on the weekends, and basically whatever issue we came up with, we would sort of argue with people on the street. And I'm still the exact same person. My high school yearbook is about animal rights. my photo. And I wrote a whole fake news article about the Animal Liberation Front in high school. And I'm still there. I'm pretty much, aside from, growing, hopefully, and maturing as a person, I still have the same passion. So my dad was Irish American. My mom was Puerto Rican. She was a dancer. She had Anita Velez Dancers, a very successful dance troupe of credible dancers. And I also did a documentary on her many years ago. And so there was the theatricality, but also sort of like journalistic. He was writing ads and working on sort of media in some sense. And then I was interviewed a couple of times when I was protesting. I was interviewed by a reporter, and I thought to myself, I can do better than that. Those questions were kind of lame. So when it came time, I applied to NYU, and I just checked off broadcast journalism. I didn't really think that much about it. I just checked it off. And then when I graduated, I got a job in Fort Myers, Florida, of all places, which was the 144th market. And it was a wild party town. Oh my God. This was like the disco era. I had a little too much fun down there in Fort Myers, Florida. But I sort of learned the ropes. And then I got a job in Minneapolis, which was a trial because beautiful state, beautiful people, but it's so bleeping cold in Minneapolis. I arrived there from Florida without even a coat, without gloves, without closed shoes. I had no idea what a defroster was because I never drove in Manhattan growing up. I mean, I wasn't I was a horrible driver. To this day, I'm not the world's best driver. And it was just shocking. The cold, the bitterness of there's no words. And then I went to Philadelphia, and that was good, but it was close to my hometown. I was always about getting back to my hometown. And then my news director got promoted. It was a CBS owned and operated station to WCBS-TV in New York, which was right down the block from where I grew up. I grew up at 57th and 7th, and CBS Broadcast Center was at 57th between, I believe it was 10th and 11th. And anyway, I was back home, and he took me with him, and I was like, yay. I worked there for 8 years. I became a weekend anchor. And then my good friend, David Goldstein, and his now wife for many years, Dorothy Lucy, who were two of my best friends, they moved to LA and they got jobs out here. And they were looking for an anchor. Disney had bought a station called KCAL-TV, which is now merged with Channel 2 many years later. But KCAL-TV was a Disney-owned station, and they were going to do this big experiment. And they were going to go into local news, and they were based on the Paramount Studios a lot. And so David recommended me. I got the job as a weekday anchor, and I got the heck out of New York. I love New York, but man, being a local news reporter, even if you're a weekend anchor, because I would do stories in between the shows on the weekends, it's brutal. You're driving around in a news van going from, crime to acid spill to strike to murder to, it was brutal. I wanted to get out, and I've always loved LA. And I just said, okay, I'm going to LA. And I worked on the Paramount lot for 12 years. Super fun job. I felt like I had died and gone to heaven. I had a parking spot right on the Paramount lot. It was just a great job. We were all hired at the same time by Disney. And we just had a lot of fun. Of course, at that point, I was still drinking, and I did hit bottom. And thank God, I never got a DUI. I still had the house, the car, but I'm an alcoholic. My dad was an alcoholic too, and I'm in recovery. And I'm 27 years sober, one day at a time. And after I got sober, they say the only thing that has to change is everything. So I started getting more mature, and I did. Getting back to what we were talking about, I started to say, I want my actions to align with my values, and I also want to be authentic. And I always knew somewhere deep inside that I was gay, but I just stuffed it down with alcohol. It was like, as long as I had that escape route, I didn't have to confront myself. And then in short order, after I got sober, It's just, you have nowhere to run and nowhere to hide if you're not self-medicating. And I came out as gay. And, it was funny because my mother was a vaudeville. She was the last of the vaudevilles. And she said, darling, it's okay. When I was with Xavier Cugat, we were all like that. So there you go. Oh, and then I worked for Celebrity Justice, which was a fun tabloid syndicated show. Then I ended up covering the Michael Jackson trial, I was on Larry King all the time, the day of the arraignment. Remember when Michael Jackson jumped on the car, I was right there watching that. And then I went to Neverland. He threw a party at Neverland. I raced there. And then I came back and I was on Larry King Live. I covered the whole trial for HLN, for Nancy Grace. And then after that trial ended, Celebrity Justice ended, and I got a call from them and they said, how would you like your own show on HLN, CNN Headline News? I said, yes, for sure. And they said, good, we'll call it Issues with Jane Velez-Mitchell. And I said, great, because I've got a lot of issues. And we had a good laugh. And then I said at some point early on, just when I got the job, which I thought I was going to have for 2 months, I moved back again, right to my mother's neighborhood. I moved right back in with my mom because CNN at the time was right at Columbus Circle, which was like 2-minute walk. And I thought I'd be there for 2 months. So I kept my place here in LA, thank God. But I ended up staying there for 7 years. I had the show for 6 years. And then my mom, who lived to 99 and a half on vegan diet, sharp until the last week, I stayed with her because she was, that last year, I knew she was, not long for this world. And then I came right back to LA. But the point was, during that great opportunity where I got this job, I lucked out. I thought it was a temporary job, but it lasted 6 years. I said, would you mind if I did a little animal segment once a week just to talk about animal issues? And I thought about it. I said, no, I guess that's okay. They probably thought I was going to do pet adoptions. I jumped in doing hardcore animal rights for 6 years. And to their credit, they never stopped me. I did pig gestation crates. Pigs who are smarter than dogs, who have the emotional intelligence of toddler humans, are kept in crates the size of their bodies, literally, unable to turn around or even scratch themselves. They go mad. They break their teeth on the bar in front of them. It's torture. If you did it to a dog for 1 day, you'd be arrested. They do their whole, this is where, as soon as they get pregnant, and they're impregnated all the time. You know what? I covered crime for years, for decades. I was a crime reporter. This is a rape, abduction, and murder operation. None of these animals are making love in these horrible warehouses where they're kept by the hundreds of thousands. They're all artificially inseminated. There's a word for that. They have not given their permission, okay? Involuntary insemination. They're pregnant. The babies are taken from them, abduction. And then they're all killed. The babies, pigs, are killed on average at 6 months of age. I attend the vigils at a slaughterhouse here in downtown LA, right near downtown LA, and I see the trucks come in. There's thousands of pigs killed at this facility every day. When I lock eyes with those pigs, you are looking at a little baby, intelligent, scared, wondering what's happening to me. Where's my mommy? And then they're going to be killed in the most horrific way. We will pay a price for it. And we are paying a price for it. Pandemics, heart disease, cancer, climate change, drought, aridification, which is permanent drought, ocean dead zones because of all the manure that 80 billion animals produce going into our waterways. Okay, I could go on. Human world hunger. 80 billion animals are eating a huge percentage of the food we produce every year. And there are kids dying of starvation right now in Somalia and Afghanistan and other parts of the world. And we say, well, it's a choice. So is driving the wrong way on the freeway. Okay, as my dear old dad used to say, freedom isn't shouting fire in a crowded movie theater. It's not just a personal choice.
I agree with you completely. I'm glad you're bringing this issue to the forefront. I would love to learn about how recently UnChained TV surpassed its 1 millionth view. So what does that mean to know that fans have embraced UnChained TV?
Well, guess what? Yes, we had a launch party recently. It was a huge success, and we surpassed our millionth view. And listen, the major networks spend billions, literally, to do what we did for tens of thousands of dollars. So we're not getting the kind of sophisticated metrics every 5 minutes that some network executive is getting. But when we get the reports, it's unbelievable. I'm like, wow, people are watching in Brazil, in Istanbul, in Croatia. It's like it's a global network in England and all the English speaking countries, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. It's so exciting to see that this is global and we're just starting. The potential of this is enormous because, okay, if you're on your laptop, you can go to UnChainedTV.com. And it's a website. It's our website. You click watch now. You can watch it on your laptop. You can also watch it on your phone. You just put it into your app store, put in UnChained TV, and there it is. In fact, there it is right there. You can see it. And so what we're doing now is original programming. And we just yesterday, I was rolling in pig mud, taping the climactic conclusion to our original reality series, Pig Little Lies. It is the first reality show starring a family of pigs, Dante, the dad, and Beatrice, the mom, a bonded pair, which means they love each other. We call them husband and wife. They were in a high kill shelter. They were about to be killed, and we got them out. We got them to a woman's home who has now created an official 501c3 nonprofit sanctuary for them and some other animals that she has. And the drama and the comedy are unbelievable. And it's a series. The next episode drops this Friday. Every Friday we drop an episode. And it's just people are really, like, my neighbor came up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to find out what happens with Beatrice next week." I couldn't believe it. When she said that, I was like, wow. So it's touching a nerve. Now, why do I do this? Because when people have a hard day at work, they want to come home, they want to watch something entertaining. We have a lot of great informational documentaries: Earthlings, Dominions, Vegucated, our documentary, Countdown to Year Zero, The Invisible Vegan. But sometimes people want light fare. I know I can binge watch a show, come home. I don't necessarily always want to watch, the history of the world, or I just want to have fun, just chill out. So we wanted to make something fun, a reality show, but it has an underlying message. But in a way, I think it's more effective because when people connect their dots on their own, you will fall in love with Dante and Beatrice. You will see what a great mom she is. And I don't want to give too much away, but wow, you just fall in love with these animals. I've laughed, I've cried watching it. And so the message is, if you see their complexity, you see their intelligence, you see their love for their own family, you see their kindness and their gentleness, because we like to demonize pigs. You pig. In fact, when I had my show on HLN, sometimes these crime experts would say of the suspect, he's an animal. And I would always stop them and say, why do you call him an animal? An animal doesn't sadistically torture another being for pleasure. Just leave animals out of it. People thought, oh, she's so crazy. But in truth, this is the demonization of animals through our language. So when we insult somebody, you say he's a pig. Why? What's wrong with pigs? See how, in order to exploit any other being, we first have to demonize them and make them seem less than, and we can make the argument in our head that, well, therefore, their suffering doesn't count. It's all about justifying our exploitation and torture. And you can look back in human history at other examples of horrific mass cruelty. I don't need to point them out. They're obvious. And what did we do? We have to demonize and lessen the beings being exploited in order to justify the exploitation. And that is just a sick little trick that humans come up with to justify doing really morally reprehensible things. And it always, in the end, comes back to bite. Just like with the pandemic, just like with heart disease, just like with cancer, just like with climate change. The United States is baking right now. I live at the beach, so I'm doing okay, but I go into the valley. I was in the valley yesterday with the pigs. It's hot as blazes. There are places in Arizona you can't even walk your dogs because the dog's paws burn on the pavement. And this is just the appetizer. It's going to get so much worse. Why? Because we are giving planet Earth a buzz cut. Why? To grow crops to feed 80 billion animals and to destroy forests and wetlands and the Amazon in order to create grazing land for cattle. And that's not me saying it. The major papers, they've all acknowledged the Amazon is being destroyed to create grazing land for cattle. And who's eating the cattle? Americans. So we're creating the problem. And the US government says, we're going to fight climate change. Meanwhile, we subsidize animal agriculture by tens of billions of dollars a year. Now, John Doerr, I think is his name, he wrote a book about, climate change and all these things we have to do. And he said, well, about meat eating, yes, it's horrible. It's destroying our planet, but people are going to eat what they want to eat. That's almost a direct quote from his book. People are going to eat what they want to eat. What a cop-out. If it wasn't subsidized by tens of millions of dollars, the average fast food hamburger that people are wolfing down, that was speciesist, that people are eating, would cost $10, $25. Then you'd say, well, maybe I don't want to order that. It's too expensive. But the U.S. government, our tax dollars are going to keep it low. All the subsidies. You are in Kansas. Do you know that many, many thousands of cows died in Kansas? We did a story on it on UnChained TV. We went live because the video popped up on TikTok. Thousands of cows dead just with their legs sticking up in Kansas. This happened a couple of days ago. And
I have not seen that, and I apologize, Jane. I have not seen this. This is very disturbing and shocking.
It popped up on TikTok. The Daily Mail picked it up, and one of the people I work with, who's a former cattle rancher turned vegan sanctuary owner, Renee King-Sona, and she's about as Texas. She's married to a fourth-generation cattle rancher. They both went vegan because they said, this isn't tradition. This is sickness what's happening on a mass scale. Well, she's the one who called me. She said, she's got a real now listen, you listen here. She's real country. She called me and she said, Jane, they're just keeling over from the heat in Kansas and in Oklahoma. We got to go live. So we went live. I put the video up on TikTok. Other people have picked it up. The Save Movement and Plant-Based Treaty, they got more than 80,000 views on there. It's hideous. When you look at it, you say there's something fundamentally morally wrong. I don't care what your religion is or if you're an atheist, but if you have a religion, what would Jesus say? Okay, what would Jesus say about 20,000 animals dead like this from the heat? Because it's not sustainable. Look, all these eggheads who think they're so smart and they're coming up with, look, I admire them. People who invent the internet, they invent virtual reality. They're sending rockets to outer space. But they can't figure out that 8 billion humans raising in horrific cruelty 80 billion animals every year on this finite planet is not sustainable. It's obvious. We could live in a world of natural abundance where nobody goes hungry because did you know that 75% of soy produced is fed to farmed animals? It's not that complicated. It's just not sustainable. And, the people who are shoving this food down our throats, they're very sophisticated. They do TV commercials. They know how to associate eating meat with everything from patriotism, family values, upward mobility, keeping up with the Joneses, popularity, sex appeal. And it's usually some British filmmakers who are slumming it to make some money on commercials using all the tricks in the book to make it look glamorous. Look at the people eating in those commercials, and then look at the people actually going into the fast food restaurants.
I will definitely look at those.
Do a little comparison. Okay, they've got these supermodels eating burgers with ketchup dripping down their bustier. Okay, and I personally have so many friends who are actresses, who are vegans, who've called me. I don't know what to do. I'm up for a blah 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 commercial, and I may have to eat. I don't want to promote meat. I don't eat meat, but I got to pay the rent. So they're using vegans in a lot of cases to promote Tom Brady. I saw him doing a commercial for turkey, and he's plant-based. Like, doesn't he have enough money? I'm sorry, Tom, but really?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot going on. That's definitely a painting a wrong picture. And it sounds like you've used social media to expand on your audience. So what have been some of your most successful strategies with social media?
Well, this is why we started the app. Okay, so when I had my show till late 2014. As soon as the show ended, I started going out. Actually, it was an executive who I spoke to at CNN. She said, well, you love animals. You should do that full time. I said, okay. I felt like I left on very good terms. They gave me my social media. So I had a very nice Facebook following already. I had a big Twitter following. I still have them. I use them to this day. And we're building up our Instagram, UnChained_TV. And I started going out with a GoPro filming protests. And that's how the word Unchained came up, because when you're a reporter, you can't really participate in protests, right? You're supposed to stay like removed. But now I was like, I can go to any protest I want and get involved and videotape it, not just be a strict objective reporter, but promote what they're talking about. So I remember the first protest I covered was at Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey show at the Staples Center in Brooklyn at 9 degrees in the middle of winter. All these activists were holding signs like this, about 200. Nobody was paying attention because everybody's rushing in because it's so cold. And I was like, okay, these protests are not going to achieve anything if they're not documented, because nobody was videotaping. This was before Facebook Live. So I started videotaping it on my GoPro. It was so cold, my hand was shaking. And then when Facebook Live came along in about 2016, it was like, hallelujah. I was a live reporter my whole life. So I didn't have to stay up till 1 a.m. editing. And then this is a global movement. It is huge all over the world. So we started having other people go live too. So we have European reporters who go live, and we have people in Latin America who go live, and we have people in Australia who go live. And we had something like 17 million views on Facebook. Now, Facebook has changed, right? Now it's become more pay for play in the wake of all the Cambridge Analytica drama and the controversy over social media being used for nefarious purposes, blah, blah, blah. We still use Facebook a lot, and we do place ads. We're a nonprofit. We do place ads to get certain things viewed more, but we knew we needed to come up with another platform. Now, we did an award-winning cooking show, 20 episodes, celebrity packed. In fact, Billie Eilish does a cameo on our show. Her mother, Maggie Baird, who is a vegan, they're a vegan family, and she does incredible work with her group called Support and Feed, where they raise money, they give it to vegan restaurants to help the vegan restaurants. The vegan restaurants make the healthy, good food, and then she delivers it to people in need. And it's such a great idea. So we did a whole season with her. So we had about 20 episodes on Amazon Prime, and they were doing gangbusters. Oh, by the way, we were nominated for 8 Taste Awards. We won 2 Taste Awards, considered the Oscars of food. It was a huge success, and it was being seen all over the English-speaking world. And one day I woke up and Amazon Prime decided to charge 99 cents an episode. Well, the views cratered because people don't. If people are going to pay for something, they want to pay for something like Billions, The Morning Show, Succession, House of Cards. They want it to be like, right? Huge. They're not going to pay for, no matter how great our shows are, they're not multi-million-dollar productions. So that's when we said, let's start the app. And I work with an Emmy-winning producer, Eamon McChrystal, who's just a genius. He really is. He's brilliant. And he said, well, we can start your own streaming network if you want. Then you can get all your videos out for free to a global audience. I said, let's do it. So that's how we ended up with UnChained TV, the streaming network.
Awesome, Jane. We got to start wrapping up our conversation. If you had a chance to meet with content creators who are watching this channel, who want to create for you on UnChained TV, what advice would you share with them?
Well, we want content creators. We want people. We only have one rule, that it's vegan. In other words, you could talk about other issues because we believe in intersectionality, food justice, food deserts, feminism. I mean, it's the ultimate violation of the feminist reproductive system, factory farming. So there's a lot of intersectionality. I would say, obviously, make it landscape so that in horizontal, because even though I love Instagram, but this is not Instagram. No bugs. Like, you have a bug there. We can't use bugs in our shows for technical reasons. And make sure your music is cleared for use. And that's it. If it's vegan and it's high quality, we'd love to have you. And we upload. I'm up till 1 a.m. every night uploading more videos. And I'm getting calls from people all around the world. I fielded a call from Australia 2 days ago, somebody who wants to do a reality show about a vegan family starting a vegan business. I said, go for it. And we give out very small grants to help people just so that they can get those ideas rolling and make them reality. And that's it. Reach out to us. My email is jane@unchainedtv.com, and check out the app. It's so easy.
Absolutely. And you said it earlier that UnChained is everywhere, correct?
UnChained TV. It's on your phone, your iPhone, your Android phone, through your app store. It's on your TV through your Roku device, Amazon Fire Stick, or Apple TV device, or Roku device. And if you have one of those new smart TVs like Samsung or LG, there's a space that says streaming channels. You just write in UnChained TV. It comes right up.
And Jane, I know that you mentioned this earlier. You are also on social media. What is your social media handle so my audience can connect with you?
Okay, well, UnChained_TV is our Instagram. And we are also on Facebook. We have more than 750,000 followers on Facebook, which is just my name. And the reason for that is facebook.com/Jane Velez-Mitchell. I have a check mark, and I got that when I left the show. So I don't want to lose the check mark. There's advantages to the check mark. So I keep it under my name, but it's the UnChained TV Facebook, where we do a lot of videos. I just published a video this morning, an hour live interview. And then we have @JVM Twitter, and we post everything on Twitter. Also LinkedIn. I'm on all the platforms. If we change one person's mind, we can save their life, because so many people are suffering unnecessarily with this horrible diet, and they can transform their lives. We have a lot of before and afters on the app, before and after, people who are 300, 400 pounds even, who are now running marathons, people who had what they thought were incurable diseases, and their doctors were telling them, you're going blind, you're going to lose your toes, blah, blah, blah. And then they went on a plant-based diet and their symptoms went away. People who have reverse diabetes. You're not getting the whole story from the medical community. I go to the doctor. I'm not anti-doctor, but they don't get a lot of information or education on nutrition. So they're pretty ignorant about it. And so there is another way. You can, our medical system is about managing disease. It's not about preventing diseases from happening. That's the big difference.
Awesome. So guys, if you miss an episode of the podcast, visit my pages on Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Once again, JACOBELYACHAR. Are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. In general, let you know that my platform, jakes-shake.com, is celebrating 11 years in August.
Fantastic. Congratulations. I want to thank you as an independent media person for giving us this opportunity, because do you hear any of this being discussed on mainstream media? And it's the solution to pretty much every one of our problems. And the last thing I'll say, including the violence we're seeing, all the shootings, that almost every single serial killer or mass shooter has started out by torturing animals.
It's sad to hear that.
Well, what I'm saying is violence begets violence. They start with animals and they go up to humans. So if we just stopped abusing animals and started looking at animals as we need to coexist with them, I'm talking right down to the squirrels and the mice and the rats. We have this killing culture. I fight it in my own neighborhood. Everyone wants to put these rat traps out. A, you can't kill your way out of that situation. B, the animals, the wild animals who then eat the rats who are poisoned, they die, and the death goes all the. Do you know that in less than 10 years, we're going to have virtually no wildlife vertebrates left on this planet? We will have achieved like total wildlife extinction, essentially. And when that happens, we're going to have an absolute ecological collapse that is going to potentially put the human race into extinction. 2 out of every 3 bites of food that we eat require some kind of pollination. And when we destroy the natural world, those insects and other animals that pollinate are going to be gone, and we're going to go hungry. I mean, I could go on all day. It's so obvious to me that this is the solution. And yet when you tell people, I don't even care about the word vegan. If it's never uttered again, I could care less, because some people, they react like it's a cult. You could say plant-based, or you could just say, stop eating animals and eat all these alternatives we've created for you. In taste tests, you can't even tell the difference between an Impossible Burger and a meat burger. So why take the one that's going to kill you and the planet? It doesn't make any sense. Humans are not always operating in their self-interest. This is the big myth. We are self-destructive to a large degree. I know, as a recovering alcoholic, I can say that 100%. So we have to start really examining our choices. And the great news is it's not a sacrifice. It's a joyous adventure.
Thank you so much, Jane. This was an incredible conversation. For everyone who listened and to watch this conversation, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to listen to this, and have a fabulous day, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.